Here we are again. Are you prepared for part 3? Here we go. First off, we have a film from Tartan Asia Extreme, A Tale of Two Sisters. This was remade by Americans. I forget what year it came out, but it was remade as a movie called The Stepmother, I believe. And they kind of veer away from what this movie is really about, which is, I can't really talk about it too much because there's too many spoilers I could give. But A Tale of Two Sisters is a really good movie. There's these sisters, their mother dies, and one of the girls has to go away to get some mental evaluation type stuff because of her mother's death. And upon her return home, she reunites with her sister, and the stepmother in question, may be a little more than what she seems, is what we're led to believe. So, like I said, I don't want to say too much about it. It's the most beautiful, if not the scariest, horror movie in ages. So there you go. This next movie came out in... I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this movie came out in, because it's taking a lot of time, so I'm just going to do this. I know I'm not very well prepared. I'm sorry. It's early. John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. Stars Sam Neill, and this is a Cthulhu-inspired movie, and it's the best film in John Carpenter's career, if you can believe that. That's what Paul Wonder said, whoever Paul Wonder is. But yeah, In the Mouth of Madness, Sam plays an author. Well, it's a good book. Oh my God, I need to wake up. It's a good movie. Watch Into the Mouth of Madness, please. The next one is the goriest fright film of all time, according to the cover. This is Dead Alive. This is the director Peter Jackson, one of his early films. And it is very gory. It's I don't want to call it a zombie movie, but don't go to New Zealand and don't get bit by any rats. That's all I can say. It's comical, it's gory, it's original, and I think you'd like it. Next up, this is an older movie that they re-released on DVD. Excuse me, golly. In 2007. They didn't put the original date on here, but it's old because it stars Lon Chaney and a very young Sid Haig. And the movie is Jack Hill's Spider Baby. This movie, I would say, is probably a very strong inspiration for the Rob Zombie movies, House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, I dare say. But yeah, this is really good. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a crazy family and the things they do to survive in this world. Speaking of crazy families, this next film, it was more mainstream, but it didn't really go over big when it first came out, I don't think. Because I didn't find out about this one until it came out on DVD, and I watched it by chance and realized, oh, this is a horror movie. Because it stars Matthew McConaughey and Bill Paxton. And the movie is Frailty. If you haven't seen this, highly suggest checking it out. Frailty, keep an open mind as you watch it. It's on the verge of crossing the line of the God Told Me To type movies. So, really good. It's got a few plot twists in it, and yeah, Frailty. Next is a movie I saw many, many years ago, and when I saw that they had re-released it on DVD, I had to pick it up. I made my wife watch this one. This is one of those movies that you don't have to understand what's going on to enjoy it, I guess. The movie is Hardware. It's set in the post-apocalyptic future about a guy who goes into the forbidden areas, which are the radioactive areas out in the desert, to scavenge for relics, which basically is anything that's metal that can be reused to bring back to sell to junkers to get redone. Anyway, it's the best nuclear radiation twisted metal jubilee since the original Mad Max. So there you go. I could just hold these up and read the thing there, and then that basically gives you everything you need to know, right? The next one, bringing the Italians in on this one. This one is directed by Lucio Fulci. House by the Cemetery. I know you've seen this movie on the, if you grew up when I grew up, this was one of those VHS tapes, this is DVD, that you always saw in the horror section at the rental places. House by the Cemetery. Came out in 1981, and it's pretty gruesome. It's an Italian horror movie, so if that tells you anything. The next one, some people may not consider a horror movie, but I think it is. Jacob's Ladder. Remember this thing? It redefines the psychological thriller. It grabs you and never lets you go. Tim Robbins is Jacob Singer, a man who lives in a nightmare. He was wounded in Vietnam. Now he's back at home in New York. Torn between the memories of his son and terrifying wartime demons, Jacob is slowly losing his grip on reality. Yes, he is. This kind of like American Psycho in the fact that as you watch it, it's kind of hard to determine, is this real or is this his imagination? There's a lot of that takes place in this movie. And it's one of those movies that when it ends, you're kind of like, what? But if you really think about it, you understand what has happened. So, ruin that one for you. Okay, I'm going to Japan on this one. Ju-On. Ju-On is the original Japanese version of The Grudge. If you remember there was a time period where Americans were redoing a lot of the Japanese horror movies like The Ring and The Grudge and The Eye and those type of films. Well, I prefer Ju-On, the original. This movie is more creepy, in my opinion. Because the Japanese, they have a way to do horror that is subtle, yet really scare the hell out of you. The imagery that they use, where America relies a lot on, dramatic music and jump scares and everything. This movie is just pretty much, you watch it and every now and then there's a cringeworthy moment, and that's what I enjoy about this one the most, I would guess. And last for this video is a Swedish film, Let the Right One In. This movie, again, is another movie that had been remade by in America, and I believe the remake is called Let Me In. But this is Let the Right One In. And it is one of the essential horror films of the decade. So says the Star Tribune. It's a chilling fairy tale, a vampire tale like no other mesmerizing. It's about a little girl who's a vampire and how she survives in the ice and snow of Sweden. and it's pretty good. She befriends a boy, and the whole time you're like thinking, dude, stay away from her. Dude, stay away from her. But it's a good flick. So that's that. That's part 3. I know I went through them quick. It is what it is. See you next time. Peace.